Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Etsy creator video. This is for more Marvel United from Minis from Mars. So they've made some really cool stuff. I've done a bunch of other videos for the things, and we have a couple of new ones to show off. To start off, we're going to drop some locations down on the board, as they would be. I don't know why I didn't grab a fifth one. But the idea is we have good old Kurt Connors the Lizard. So the way the Lizard mechanic works is he had little sewer tiles. And what they do is, instead of being put on the tiles and he moves from one to the other, you end up, let me zoom out a little bit better here. So if I just have like the three tiles there, you put them in between the different tiles, and then he moves from sewer to sewer. So it definitely works for, like I said, I have the 3D tokens instead of the cardboard ones, but they work really nice. But what our creator friend from MinisFromMars did, he created little sewer tokens. So if you wanted these instead of the plastic ones, these would work out really well. So instead, you could swap one of these out, and you could have him stand on an actual thing that says a sewer token, which in itself is fantastic. It's definitely a neat little idea. Either one works really great. But what's really cool, and we've already done a video on those, is what we also have is he has these new sewer standees. Which has his brand on the bottom there, which is really cool. So instead, what these do is these can go in between each location. They're even kind of angled a little bit. You can kind of have them in there. And then, so you can have your lizard stand inside each sewer thing. So it gives him a bigger physical presence on where he needs to be going. So a set of these comes with 6 of them. As well as 6 sewer tiles. So again, you can either buy the sewer tiles separate if you like those, or you can buy them as the set. And what's nice is because they just pop right into the top there. They just kind of lay in there, and they can kind of sway in there. And then you can go ahead and have them stand on top of that if you'd rather have them do that instead. Just to give them a little extra presence. Like all these upgrades, are they necessary? Absolutely not. But they are pretty fun to do. Another thing I want to point out with these, which I thought would be an interesting idea to do, was we have Ninja Turtles. I have little Ninja Turtle miniatures, so you could put them in there, or rather keep them maybe on top of the sewer covers. You could have them as little base standees if you want something for your little Ninja Turtle miniatures. So I have these for the TMNT Adventures game. So yeah, we can drop our multiple different turtles on there. So if you want standees for your turtles, again, you could drop them inside there if you want them kind of looking like they're coming out of the sewer. That's kind of a neat idea. You can even have like the manhole cover behind them. Or you can even use these in the game as a replacement for their manhole covers, which are a lot bigger than the other ones, but it's actually not a bad idea. What's also neat is they can hold some of the bigger characters too. If you want to have like Leatherhead, or if I want to swap in Slash there, he'll work. Now Leatherhead's not 100% fit all the way down in there. Slash might, because he's a little bit bigger. But again, these could be really neat stands if you want to display a couple of your different Ninja Turtle figures as well. So I just wanted to show that just some extra utility you could get out of those. So very cool there. Alright, then the other thing we wanted to show off for this creator, let me just scooch all these out of the way, is we have good old Victor Von Doom and his Doom tokens. So he has Doom villain tokens that he summons, or thugs. So there's occasional times he'll play them and they will go on a tile where a thug would be instead. And then he has various mechanics that interact with them, which is perfectly fine. Again, I have the plastic tokens, which works out just as well. But what we got here is we got an army of little miniature Doombots. These are really cool. They're plastic and translucent. They stand out. Now, we've had other ones from this creator that are the same style, but these look a lot more cool than being on the board. You know, if like Doombots took over this location, now we have that. We get a bunch of these. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 3 or 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So we have 15 of them. Looks like I unfortunately had one that broke. That'll happen. I'll just glue them back together. It's not that big of a deal. Sometimes that happens with stuff. These things get bounced around a little bit. It's no big deal. But again, that's also just keep in mind any of this stuff, they are fragile, so don't. So if we're going to store these, don't just, when I store mine, I'm actually going to chuck them into a box. It's going to be sloshed around a ton. But that's a really neat idea, is you can get these to kind of then, now you have to pick these up and move them around. There will be, yes, you always end up with something like this where the opposite sides, they're a lot harder to store because this is going to take up a lot less room than a bunch of those. But on the other hand, these are going to look much cooler sitting on the board. And then if we also combine that with some of his previous ones, we have our, so I'm going to move some of our Doombots out of the way here quick. Just so we have a little bit more space. If we have our Doombots next to a civilian, he created some of the little holographic little, like, civilians. You can also pick up, so those look really neat on there. Or if you have your standard thugs in the red. Which I have some regular ones, I have some special ones kind of mixed in here. But yeah, these definitely add that extra little presence on the board. I zoom back in a little bit more. Plus we have the 3D threat tokens just can go on there. So yeah, they can definitely add some cool presence on the board. And then yeah, if you add in wizards popping around down there on the sewers. Obviously, Doombots wouldn't be on there. Or if we have other little cool things like the spider tokens we've seen before. Just adding some of them 3D elements versus tokens on the board are really fun. We also have the Madrox Multiple Man ones that can come on there as well. But they're gray because that way you could paint them to match the match Madrox, which is really fun as well. So there's a bunch of those little miniatures there. And then he's had some promo ones that he sent me over the course of stuff. Like I've gotten like little Santa ones and stuff, which are really fun. But speaking of that, we do have 2 brand new ones that are promos I hadn't seen before. I'm going to scooch these guys back. So we do get is a regular thug. Okay. All the way off the screen, guys. So this will actually zoom in on me. So come on. Yes, we get a little taped lady there. So at first I thought this is a Dr. Doom, but it is a taped female. So that's pretty cool. This could represent any number of villainous thugs. And then the other one we have is a guy coming out of a sewer pipe. Which is really cool, like Mario Brothers style pipe. But still, definitely cool to have some alternate little bonus ones that he's sent over there. So when you do order, he might send you some extra little promo guys that he's designed. They're kind of like fun little extra collectibles to get. That way you have some neat, other different distinction types of guys if you want to use. But these look really cool on the board. Yeah, you're just quickly playing. You might not really notice them all. But again, I love the little 3D standees for the characters. I think they, not only do they look really cool on the board, especially next to when you're playing with miniatures, versus having a bunch of tokens laying on the board, but yeah, they also, are easier to pick up and move. I have to I gotta get rid of 2 thugs, I have to add 2 thugs, versus having to pick up a bunch of tokens. So, very cool. That is from our friend at MinisFromMars. Definitely check out all of his stuff. It is really cool. See you guys later. Bye.